So the next type of kernel is the microkernel. The microkernel design incorporates only the essential set of operating system services into the kernel. Monolithic had the entire stuff, but in case of microkernel, whatever is essential, only that part of operating system services are put into one kernel. So the rest of the operating system services are implemented in programs known as servers, which runs in user space. So the important core part of the kernel, which is called as microkernel, that will be in the main memory, and the remaining part will be put into the user space. So it will not be in the kernel space. The remaining part of the operating system will be put into the user space. The kernel design is highly modular, uh, provides OS neutral abstraction. So it is totally neutral kernel, so that it is compatible for all types of operating systems. Now, the core part of microkernels are memory management, process management, timer system, and interrupt handlers are examples of essential services which forms a part of microkernel. So these things like memory management, process management, timer systems, interrupt handlers, they form the essential part of the microkernel. So the remaining part, they will be in the user space. Now let's see. So microkernel with essential services, whatever I discussed now, that is memory management, process management, timer system, it will be here, the kernel space, and the rest kernel services running in user space, which are called as servers. So this part of kernel is running in the user space. So this is running in the kernel space. So now the applications, if it requires any of these services, then it will interact the kernel space. If it requires any of the one which is present in user space, then it interacts here. You can see they are communicating. In further, if this particular kernel wants any information, then it once again interacts with the kernel space. So the best examples are QNX, Minix 3 kernels are the best examples for microkernel. So now let's go to the next type. Now, types of operating system. Now, depending on the type of kernel and kernel services, purpose and type of computing system where the OS is deployed, and the responsiveness to the application. So based on all this, we are going to classify the operating system. One as a general purpose operating system. So this we have discussed. Still, we will see how it is. The operating systems which are deployed in general computing systems. So these operating systems are deployed in the general purpose systems. The kernel is more generalized and contains all the required services to execute generic applications. So here the kernel will, I'm talking about general purpose operating system. So the kernel will be more generalized and it executes all the services required. So it is meant for generic applications. Now it need not be deterministic in execution behavior. So this type of kernel will not have a specific behavior. Now, it may inject random delays into application software and thus cause slow responsiveness of an application at an unexpected time. This we would have seen in our day-to-day life, in that the whatever we are using is general purpose operating system. So there may be some random delays and there may be slow responses because of too many processes. So those things are the characteristics of general purpose operating system, and usually they are deployed in computing systems where deterministic behavior is not an important criteria. So as I said here, that there is no fixed behavior. So widely used in personal computer, desktop systems. So whatever we are using in the lab, they are the best examples of general purpose operating system. Windows XP, MS-DOS, etc. are the examples of general purpose operating system. So here we deploy, and these are the types of operating system. So all this, whatever we discussed so far, is general purpose operating system. Now let's go for the next type of operating system, that is real-time purpose operating system. Now here the operating systems which are deployed in embedded systems demanding real-time responses. So there will be demanding, it requires a real-time response, and they are deterministic in execution behavior. So here the behavior of the embedded application will be deterministic. It consumes only known amount of time for kernel applications. So even the time is fixed. So if you take any washing machine, it will fix up the duration and it will run only for that duration, and it has to, and it will. You take traffic lights, the timing is deterministic, so it behaves accordingly. So it implements scheduling policies for executing the highest priority task application always. So if it involves an operating system, then definitely there will be scheduling policies which works on the priority wise. Now, it implements policies and rules concerning the time critical allocation of system resources. So definitely there will be uh, policies and the rules that helps for uh, time critical. So wherever there is, you're working on hard deadlines, then definitely the system is designed for such kind of resources. Now, coming to the examples, we work with Windows CE, QNX, VxWorks are the examples of a real-time operating system. So these are the examples of real-time operating systems. So now let's go to the real-time kernel. So now what we are talking is the real-time operating system and the kernel involved in that. So I'm not talking about general purpose operating system. Whatever you're studying in the operating system subject, it is general purpose operating system. But now whatever we are going to discuss is the real-time operating system. So here, in complement to the convenient OS kernel, in contrast to the general purpose operating system kernel, this real-time kernel is highly specialized. They are highly specialized, and it contains only the minimal set of services required for running the user applications. It has got only minimal set of services. The basic functions of real-time kernel are, so what are the basic functions? Process management, process scheduling, process synchronization. So the real-time kernel focus only on these things. That is, either we call it as task or process. Don't get confused, both are one and the same. So here we are discussing about task or process management. So this real-time kernel has got a minimal set of services, and those services focus mainly on process management, process scheduling, how to synchronize the process, and if there are any exception, how to handle it, memory management, how to handle the interrupts, and then the time management, how to manage the time. So now let's take up one by one, that is process management. So now let's start with the first one, task or process management. So here I'm talking about process. All of you know by now what is process. It is a program under execution. So it deals with setting up the memory space for the task or process. So main part of this software is it will set up a memory space for the process or tasks, loads the task code into the into the memory space. It is main thing. It is responsible for loading the task into the memory, allocating the system resources, whatever the process require, uh, those resources will be allotted to that, and it will set up a task control block. So it will have a task control block for task and process termination deletion. So this TCB, task control block, will have the information about the task or block. Okay. Now a TCB is used for holding the information corresponding to a task. Now a TCB is mainly responsible for holding the information. So it has got all the information corresponding to the task just now I discussed. Now, TCB usually contains the following set of information. So, TCB has some information. As I said, it holds information about the task. So, what are that information? We will see in the next slide. Yes. So, these are the information TCB will hold. Let's see one by one. What is the first one? Task ID. So, task identification number. So, every task will have a unique identification number. So, that is called as task ID. The next one is task state. The current state of the task. In operating system, you would have studied the different states of processes: ready state, blocked state, dead state, start. So that particular state information it will be present in the task state. So example, if state equals ready means the task is ready to execute. So this is about the task state. Task type. Now, what is a task type? Indicate what is the type of this task. It could be hard real time or soft real time or a background task. So whatever the task is nothing but a process. Whether that particular process is working on a hard real time means there is that timing is more crucial. You have to execute that in that particular duration. Soft real time, yes, there could be some delays. Even in embedded systems, it could be hard or soft real time. Or it is neither a hard or soft real time. It is just a background process, means you're executing something behind, there will be some process running. So this are the three different types of categories of process, whether it is a hard real time or a soft real time or a background task. So that information is given by task type. Now task priority. So task priority, again, it talks about the priority. We can set up a priority for the task. If it is equal to 1, then it has got the highest priority. Otherwise, the priority keeps changing. The next one, task context pointer, means the pointer for context saving. So this also a operating system concept. You know that whenever the control is switching from one process to another process, there will be a context switch, and there should be a pointer which keeps pointing to the starting of the next process. So that is something like your program counter. The task context pointer is nothing but a program counter which tells to which one it has to point. Task memory pointers. Task memory pointers. Pointers to the code memory or data memory or a stack memory. This you would have seen the different types of memory: code memory, data memory, and stack memory. So there will be pointers. So to which part of which pointer is pointing to which memory, that information is given by task memory pointers, and where it is pointing in that particular memory, in the code memory, in the data memory. That information is given by task memory pointers. Task system resource pointers. For example, what are the different system resources? Semaphores, mutex. This also you will be studying in the operating system subject, semaphores and mutex. So this pointers will be giving information about those resources, whether it is using semaphores or mutex. And now next one is task pointers. So here the pointers are pointing to the TCB, means the pointers are pointing to this particular set of information. So there is a pointer. All these informations are present in TCB. So there should be a pointer to point to this TCB. So that is nothing but the task pointer. And it also holds information of preceding, next, and the waiting task. This information is also given by TCB, which is a previous one, which is a next task, and which task is waiting. And other parameters and other relevant task information will be present in the TCB. So all this, whatever we discussed, it is actually part of TCB.